All right, let's break this down piece by piece and dive into it so you can really get this. And not just at the surface level, but deep, deep inside you. What would have to happen in the future for me to look back and say, I'm glad I went through all this suffering? And what's wild about that question is, it already assumes something incredibly powerful. You're not asking why you're suffering. You're asking how will it serve you? How will it turn you into someone stronger, wiser, and more powerful? Imagine for a second 5 years from now, or maybe even 10. You're looking back at everything that's happened, the pain, the tears, the frustration, the chaos. And you say to yourself, that was the best thing that could have happened to me. That suffering, I needed that. Now doesn't that seem wild? How often do people look at their struggles and see them as some gift, some divine blessing in disguise? Not often enough. But what if it's exactly that? What if your suffering has a higher purpose than you've even fully recognized yet? So let's get into this. First, suffering is never pointless. If you think it is, you're holding on to a limiting belief that's trapping you. Because if you think that suffering is just this random, chaotic thing that happens to you, well, that's your fault. You're telling your brain that it's powerless. But if you shift that perspective, if you can see that suffering is feedback, growth, and a catalyst for transformation, you're setting yourself up for not just survival, but to thrive. You might not even realize it, but you're already doing it. In the middle of the most painful moments, when you're about to throw in the towel, you've already asked yourself questions like, what could this be teaching me? Or maybe you haven't consciously asked it, but your body, your subconscious mind, is already figuring it out. Like a computer trying to process the data. Let's chunk this down. You're probably thinking, okay, suffering is necessary, but how exactly does it make me stronger? Let's say you go through a tough breakup. Feels like the end of the world, right? The loneliness, the sadness, the rejection. But in that pain, you start asking yourself, what's the lesson here? What's this showing me about myself? What's the opportunity here for me to grow? Now this isn't just some fluffy self-help mantra. This is a strategy. Your brain is adapting. You're rewiring your thinking. You're training your emotional resilience, which is the secret sauce of success. And when you ask that question, you step out of the victim role and into empowerment. But wait, let's ramp it up. What happens if you don't do this? Imagine you don't reframe that suffering. Imagine you just stay stuck in it, get consumed by it, let it control you. What happens? You become bitter. You become fearful and resentful. You become someone who fears change and avoids taking action. And guess what? Nothing changes. The cycle continues. You're stuck. Now here's the crazy part. Suffering, if you let it, can become your most powerful teacher, your greatest ally. Think about it. When you choose to grow in the face of pain, that's the moment when you step into your power. You break free from old patterns that have kept you small. Imagine this. You're facing something difficult. Maybe a job that you hate, or a relationship that drains you. Instead of running away from it, you start to ask yourself, how can this situation help me grow? What am I supposed to learn here? That shift in mindset is everything. It's the difference between suffering and growth. Think about the science behind this for a second. Your mind, your body, they're built for adaptation. That's the beauty of being human. When you experience hardship, your nervous system learns to respond differently. It's like training for a marathon. The more you run, the stronger your muscles get. Your brain does the same thing. The more you face discomfort, the more you learn to embrace it. It's like you're supercharging your personal development. So what do you think happens when you embrace the discomfort? You grow. And not just grow a little bit. I'm talking about transforming. You become someone completely different from who you were before the suffering. But let's get real. This isn't easy. It's not about skipping over the pain. It's not about pretending that everything is sunshine and rainbows. Hell no. Sometimes it's hard as hell. But you've already been through tough shit, haven't you? Think back to times when you've struggled, but somehow you got through it. How'd you do it? You adapted, didn't you? You shifted your mindset. You found solutions in the middle of chaos. And that's where your strength lies. So let's go deeper. What's the cost of not doing this? Let's break this down with some tough love. If you don't embrace the discomfort, if you don't use suffering as a means to level up, you're going to get stuck in comfort. You'll live a life of mediocrity, constantly running away from pain, never truly living. You'll be living in a delusion, believing that comfort equals happiness, but deep down, knowing you're not growing. But let me hit you with this. There's no growth without discomfort. It's like a seed. A seed doesn't just sit there and bloom in perfect conditions, no. It has to break through the dirt, fight against the earth, push through the rocks. Only then does it rise into the light. And what about the good side of this? What if you embrace the discomfort? What if you say yes to the pain? What do you get? You get freedom, you get confidence, you get mastery over your life. That's the power of understanding suffering. It's not about avoiding it. It's about leveraging it to transform your life in ways you can't even imagine yet. So why are you afraid of this process? Why would anyone resist? Simple fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of what people might think. Fear of stepping into the unknown and the uncertainty. But let me tell you something. The people who truly succeed, they're not afraid of the discomfort. They seek it out. They use it. They know on the other side of pain is the next level of greatness. Now let's wrap this up with a powerful visualization. Imagine yourself a year from now, looking back at everything that you're going through right now. What would it take for you to say, I'm glad I went through all that. It made me who I am today. It gave me the strength I have now. What would that look like? How would that feel? That's your future waiting for you to embrace this suffering, this discomfort, this challenge. Because in the end, it's all leading you to become the person you've always been capable of becoming. Are you ready to claim that? To stop resisting? To use every ounce of pain and turn it into power? If you are, then you're already on the right path. Let's go.